Today we'll be studying the first poem of grade 11. The name of the poem is A Photograph. This is a poem which compares the internal state of nature and the momentary state of humans. In this poem, the poetess describes a photograph of her mother's childhood in the photograph of time when she went for a sea holiday with her two girl cousins. This poem, The Photograph, is all about transience of human life, death, and mysteries surrounding them. The poet is looking at the photograph of her mother and missing her. The photograph depicts the scene of her mother's childhood when she, along with her cousins Betty, Dolly, and uncle, had gone to the beach. Well, let us see the line-by-line summary of this poem. First 4 lines are as follows. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. Here the word paddling means walking, and the meaning of these lines is, here the poet is looking at an old photo album which is made up of cardboard. In the picture, there are 3 girls who are walking on the beach holding each other's hands. The girl in the middle is the tallest and oldest, and the other 2 girls on each side are younger than her. The girl in the middle is the poet's mother. She is around 12 years old when the picture was taken. Next lines are, all 3 stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera, a sweet face. My mother's that was before I was born, and the sea which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient fate. Here, probably you might not be knowing the meaning of word transient. The meaning of word transient is short-term or temporary. Meaning of these lines is, here the poet describes how the photograph was taken. Her mother's uncle took the photograph and told them to stop and pose. All 3 of them left their wet hair open and smiled at the camera. The poet's attention is drawn towards his mother's face, which is described as a sweet face. The photograph was taken long before the poet was born. The poet calls their fate terrible transient as they were so young by then and now they had grown older. On the other hand, the sea which touched their feet has changed less. Next lines are, some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach, the sea holiday. Here the meaning of snapshot is photograph. After 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the photograph. She would tell me to look at her cousins Betty and Dolly and how their parents would dress all 3 of them up for the beach. They would have planned to take a photograph beforehand. Next lines are, was her past, mine is her lover. Both worry with the labored ease of loss. Here, the meaning of the word worry is ironic, that is mocking. The poet recalls the sea holiday was her mother's favorite moment from the past, while the poet's favorite moment from the past was her mother's lover. Both the women would think about those past memories which they cannot live again. They tried their best to adjust to what they lost. Next lines are, now she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. And of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all, it's silence, silences. Here, The word silences is a complete absence of sound. In the above lines, the poet says that her mother died 12 years ago, the same age her mother was in the photograph. Whenever the poet thinks of her mother's death, she cannot explain what effect she has of her mother's death. Death has silenced her mother, which has also left her speechless. So this was all about the summary of the poem line by line.